Hey, how you doing? It's Sergeant Joe Padula with the 2nd Brigade Public Affairs Office, and I gotta tell you, we're out here today. We got the Strike Open House, where all the Strike veterans, Strike's Today soldiers, Strike family members, Strike Gold Star families have all gathered to check out what's going on here at Strike during Week of the Eagles 2012. Each battalion and squadron attached to Strike has its own display where they're showing off some of the latest weapons and latest techniques that you can find on today's battlefield. Also, a great video has been shown of the history of Strike, starting from World War II, going all the way through OEF 10-11. It's been non-stop, you know. We got a lunch going on, provided by our great soldier chefs here, and I'll tell you what, it's been great feedback from these fine people that paved the way for us Strike soldiers today. And not for nothing, it's an honor to shake their hand and to hear their story. Not only do we love telling today's soldier story here at Strike Public Affairs, but we love telling their story too, because without them, there's no us. That's for sure. Absolutely.
My girl's a pretty girl.
She lives in a hospital.
She lives in a hospital.
And I would do anything.
And I would do anything
to keep her alive.
to keep her alive.
She's got a new TV.
She's got a new TV.
It's called an EKG.
It's called an EKG.
And I would do anything.
I would do anything.
I'm Sergeant Roller, and this is Specialist Davis. We're here to introduce the Shadow 200. It's RQ-7 Bravo airframe. This aircraft is for route reconnaissance, surveillance, recon, troop overwatch, anything of that range. It has a 6-hour endurance. Has about 120 kilometer range. We use a cat trap system. We launch it from a launching system, which is pressurized at about 2,000 psi, and then we have a trap system, which is like the aircraft carrier trapping systems. It catches on a tail hook and stop it. It's automatically launched and landed through the software.
This Shadow 200 system has a EO and IR camera. At nights and days we can continue the mission. We normally flip between white hot and black hot to be able to get a good picture. The Shadow lands by a tactical automatic landing system, which is able to allow the pilot to focus on more mission essential tasks. The PO is the person that does the mission, which is coordinated with the MC and ACs. Normally, this Shadow has a CRP, which is gives the ability to communicate with ground troops and rebroadcast.
What's the other one? Specialist Barry. This is the M1200 night vehicle. Specialist Nike can help me demonstrate this. Mission of the vehicle. This is actually our fire support vehicle. We have the LRAS right here that actually designates and finds targets for us. It then sends that information to a computer that's inside the vehicle, which the TC can then analyze and annotate and then send up to higher headquarters, who can then call for fire through a digital message. The vehicle is approximately 15 to 16 tons. It can go almost 68 miles an hour, although I do not advise trying to go that fast in this vehicle, ever. The vehicle has a winch right here in case it ever gets stuck. I have actually got this vehicle stuck once, had to use the winch, and holds it out quite well, I have to say, for a 16-ton vehicle. Works quite well. Over here, you have our how the crew department gets inside. In full gear, this vehicle is very tight. I don't like getting in it with full gear. It's a pain in the butt, but you got to do what you got to do. When you come in here, the seat lays down. The driver can then get inside. If you want to look inside, that's fine. That seat actually lays down flat so the driver can crawl up in there, and then they can open up the top hatches up top. The driver and TC can then get inside. We've also got the cupola right here for the gunner. It's only a 3-man crew for this system. So, you know, those three can liaise with the targets, analyze, and drive. That's basically the entire system here. Everything else back here is taken up by radio equipment and the engine compartment in the back. We have vehicle batteries right here. And then you have TC batteries right here. The TC batteries power both the computer and the LRAS up top. Other than that though, it's a pretty nice vehicle. I love this vehicle. It's good to work with, but that's pretty much it. And up top, armament for this vehicle, you can either put a 270 or a 50 cal.
240.
240, excuse me. 240. Correction, 240. But
That's a good job, Barry.
as far as the ammo goes, you're supposed to be able to store ammo on this thing right here, and there's 2 slots up top. For a 50 cal though, that's going to be not too many rounds, so I don't see much of a point having a 50 on this.
Right here we have the M249 Squad Automatic Weapon System. This weapon was introduced to the Army in 1984 to fulfill a need that was being looked for in the light infantry department. This weapon is mainly used in the team-sized element, which is a 5-man group to go and have a quick suppressive fire that can be used to neutralize enemy and put their heads down. The characteristics of this weapon system: it is a belt-fed, air-cooled, light automatic machine gun. It shoots a 5.56 caliber round. Something very interesting about this weapon system is it is both belt-fed and magazine-fed, giving you an option when you're running low on rounds. Interchangeable barrels to ensure that you shoot very well, and it shoots true. It's very reliable, and I personally love it. It's my favorite.
Right here we have the M26. This is a modular shotgun accessory system. This shotgun can be used in a standalone configuration with the buttstock that's attached. This system can also be removed, pulling this split ring out and removing the pin, and we can mount this on the bottom of an M4 modular weapon system like we have over here as an attachment to the rifle itself. It's got a built-in standoff adapter, so you can slide this adapter out, lock it into place, and this can be used to give you the standoff distance that you need when breaching doors. So that way you can come up to a door, place this directly against the door right next to the lock. You shoot once, lower it down, shoot again, and at that point the lock should be decommissioned and you should be able to kick the door in and enter the building. This shotgun shoots 2 3/4 or 3-inch 12-gauge shells, similar to the traditional M500s that we have. Operates using the 3-round or 5-round magazines. The magazine latches in, similar to an AK-47 style magazine. At that point you have 5 rounds ready to go into the weapon. It's still a pump action shotgun, so to chamber the round, you pull the charging handle to the rear, slide it forward, and at that point you're ready to fire the weapon and then repeat the cycle. And as soon as you're done with it, place the weapon on safe and you're ready to continue your mission.
I am Sergeant Simonton with 175 Cavalry, 2nd Brigade. Here we have the M136 AT4. It is a rocket launcher. Fires a single heat round, which is more commonly known as a high explosive anti-tank round. Approximately 84 millimeters. Can travel the distance of 250 meters in less than a second. It is approximately 40 inches long, weighs about 15 pounds. Self-explanatory. It actually has directions for the soldier labeled on it. Generally you want to work from front to back in order to deploy the weapon. You have here the firing pin, or the safety pin. You move up, there's a shoulder strap underneath. You open up, and then you move to the sights up top. Slide your right arm through, place it on your shoulder. You have a cocking lever near your thumb. Pull that forward and around, and your weapon is cocked. You have a safety trigger here that you want to hold down before deploying, and then you simply aim at what you're shooting at, brace it, check your back blast area, make sure it's all clear, and engage the weapon. That we have your M136 AT4. We use it to breach bunkers, attack vehicles. We do not use this weapon on individuals. It is against Geneva Convention. And once you're done with it, you simply dispose of it on your own accord, whether you run it over with a vehicle or you destroy it in place with a fragmentation grenade or block of C4.
How's it going? I'm Specialist Edgar, and I'm going to show you the 120mm mortar system. The whole system is made up of 4 parts. It's got the cannon, the base plate, the bipod, and the sight. And combined weight of all that together is about 350 pounds, a little under 350 pounds, and it fires a big one of these 120 millimeter mortar. And the way it's fired is you simply hold it up over the tube, drop it in, get out of the way, and it fires up over a lot of stuff.
My name is Specialist Geis. I'm with Alpha Company 526 BSB, 2nd Brigade, and I'll be speaking with you here about the MATV vehicle. A little bit known about the MATV, it stands for Mine Resistant Ambush Protection. It's a recently new vehicle with the Army. It came in at 2009 and they're still using it today over there in Afghanistan. It has a 7.2 liter inline 6 Caterpillar C7 turbo diesel. It has 925 pounds of foot torque to it, along with 370 pounds of horsepower with it. The Ellison 3500 SP transmission inside of it, and it has 320 miles per tank is what it can get. That's pretty much just about the basics on it. It's a 4-person vehicle, plus one with a gunner. These vehicles are allowed to either be manual gunner or a crow gunner. Some of the newer versions are going a lot more to crow because it's a lot more safer for the capabilities over there in Afghanistan. You don't have to have a person out in the visibility of the enemy. Some of the things with it, when you look, this right here is now a Gen 3 model. They've upgraded it in so many ways compared to the Generation 1 that was known to a lot of people who've been gone for the last year or two in Afghanistan. With the Gen 3 model, what they've done is they've upgraded a lot of the armor, and they've made the V-hull on the actual vehicle a lot more proficient. Therefore, whenever a blast does happen underneath the vehicle, it's going to split the blast and not cause any main damage to the vehicle. Instead, it's going to push it all to the side. They've upgraded the tires. They have made them, I'd want to say, probably close to twice as large as what they used to be. They are run off of a CTIS system. So if you were to go ahead and run through a whole different setting, let's say you go from sand onto hardball, you can sit there and with just the control push of a button that is located right here, it can go anywhere from highway, cross country, mud, sand, and snow, and emergency. Emergency is only used for if you were to go ahead and either have a flat tire somehow, or you were to run over a blast and it blows up your tire. These trucks are still capable of running on a flat tire at 30 miles per hour. They will not roll off of the rim, they will stay on there. CTIS is mostly used for whenever you're up there on the rough terrain. Therefore, you're not going to have any type of main bounce in your truck. With the Blast 2, they have installed blast mats into the actual vehicle. And this is just for, they had a lot of issues with the old Humvees, for whenever you had a blast, if you had your feet on the ground, it could easily break an ankle. So now with these take the blunt of the force, and therefore it keeps the personnel inside of the vehicle safe. Along with the Blast, like I was talking about with these seats, they have now upgraded the seats, so they're actually slider seats. Now they don't move when you actually sit in it, but whenever a blast hits, it'll go ahead and it'll release it. Therefore, you will actually go with the blast itself, so therefore you don't get as shooken up inside of it. These seats come with a 5-point harness system. And all it is you got your 2 laps and your 2 overs, and you're in between. And the same thing with that is the gunner's harness is also a 5-point system, but in the bottom with these MATVs, you hook it on just to a regular seatbelt. The nice thing about this whole setup is that it has a quick release. So if you were to be involved in a rollover or a blast or something where you need to get out of here quickly and you don't have time to fumble with your actual harness, there's a little clip that you can just pull and it releases, it retracts automatically, it's out of your way. These turrets can be manually operated or they can be joystick operated. That's pretty much a lot of the specifics of inside the truck. They come with a what's that called? An air suppression system. Therefore, if you have a fire inside of the truck, there's now 5 tanks that are located on this truck. Before, they used to be sitting right underneath the wheel hub, where with a blast that happened, it could easily puncture the tank. They now put them behind some armor and right beside the fender. And with that, whatever happens, if let's say you have a fire inside the truck, there's sensors that are inside of the truck that will sense that, and it will automatically release that. Now, if that releases, obviously, you're going to want to be egressing out of the vehicle as soon as possible, just because you don't want to be breathing too much of that in yourself. But it gives you the quick capability of getting out of the truck safely without being burnt. With the front of the truck, they've upgraded armor also.
Well, a lot of it is assigned to my user.
Before, they used to have the fire suppression system underneath the front fender, but with that, whenever you get a blast, this front fender would come off a lot. So therefore, they have put it now up underneath the hood, around actual armor itself. You can, with this, you can, they added on extra armor onto the front, so therefore you can't get punctured as much. You can place a mine roller onto the front of these vehicles for the lead vehicle, or you can, and also with that, you can also get into the Duke system or the Rhino system, which will drop down, and that is your jammer. All in all, this truck probably, that I'd have to say, is probably one of the best vehicles that I could see for working in Afghanistan. You can get over any terrain that you're faced in, and there's just nothing that this truck really can't do with the capabilities that it's given to do.
Best truck out here. We have.